Hi guys. I wanted to talk quickly about this upcoming um, Cancer and full moon. It's going to be um, a pretty intense moon that's going to have pretty much. Let me make sure everybody can hear me first. By the way, this is a blackout video, but it's going to have a pretty intense sort of effect on all signs. Not too intense, but it will have an effect on all 12 zodiac signs. And because it's going to have the type of effect on all signs um, in ways that are not typical of the kind of normal effect during this type of year. And because you know that Cancer is a sort of sensitive sign, the normal kind of effect that it would have is going to be um, a more spiritual breakthrough, and not like a breakthrough as we would know is pretty, let's say a breakthrough that's kind of normal. So, like, let's say you're having a breakthrough in the certain areas that are in all 12 signs. So, let's say you want to have um, a breakthrough in your finances. So, like, your finances are, um, let's say you're a Cancer sun, right? And you've been going through, let's say, homelessness, right? Um, but your Cancer sun is in the 12th house, right? And we know that the 12th house is ruled by um, Pisces, right? And because it's ruled by Pisces, we know that Pisces is uh, a very spiritual house, right? Um, you kind of want to pay close attention to that because that's a very hidden house, right? So it could simply be intense because it's going to be a release of frustration, right? Or let me kind of roll back. So um, that can be something like anger or resentment that you've been sort of bottling up over the past couple of months, right? So if you're normally prone to types of anger, this full moon is going to want you to get into um, some sort of type of, um, let's say, uh, a place where you would normally not want to be crawling back into your shell. So, on a collective level, um, cancers who are not normally as expressive, right? You want to make sure that you don't want to be as expressive because this Cancer moon is going to want to put you into a place where you might want to pull back that energy, okay? Because all those emotions that you've been holding back on and that were pushed down into the surface over these past couple of months may come back from the very, 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 and I'm not saying that these emotions are very like totally hidden into that 12th house. They're all the way down at the edge of the surface, but kind of like this, you know, hidden part, but they are going to want to come up, right? So they're in this place where they've been pretty much bottled, right? you know, so, and by the way, if you're in here or maybe you're watching the replay, just go ahead and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that like button. But um, on a collective level, you want to make sure that if you are trying to express yourself, right, to people, just be very cognizant of how you're really wanting to express yourself, that you pay attention to your emotions and they're not being very feral, right? And you're paying attention to your own emotions and not putting them out there in a way that you will regret them later, especially if you are a Cancer, right? And that you have your emotions in check, right? Because those people that are, especially you Cancers, right? Because you may have misplaced, um, not misplaced, but these emotions that are um, kind of, like I said, just kind of like um, out of I don't want to say that they're out of whack because I do have Cancer placements myself, right? But just keep them um, you know, pay very close attention to them, right? Um, and find a place for them that you journal them and figure out how you are deeply feeling about them. Because the people that are around you and that you want to release these emotions on, one of the things that I said last night in another video, I was telling the people that have Cancer placements, I was telling them, like, express your emotions to like your cats and dogs, or even in your journal, like write these emotions down. So if you're around people that you really want to like unleash these emotions to, that you are able to um, put them down on paper first or journal them in a place that, you are feeling them so deeply that you just don't automatically unleash them to, because these emotions will come out, right? And that you can find a safe place to put them instead of just like, blah, put them on these people, right? And that you can put them in a more healthy place instead of, out there in the open, and they are not just out there in a place where you may somehow regret them after the full moon. Okay. Um, let me see what else I wrote. And sorry about this because my camera is down, but it's facing in a different direction. Let me see what else. And I will go into the other signs a little bit later. Um, and also sorry for that background noise because it's a little bit of white noise. So I can have that in the background. Also, there's going to be a little bit of drama with Cancer because, you know, surrounding this full moon. And also, based on your sign on this full moon, Cancer, like I said, is going to be happening on January 13th, depending where you're at, and this somewhere around between 3 o'clock, um, depending where you're at. I think Pacific time, I believe. And if you're on the East Coast, I think about 5 ish. My time, it might be happening a little bit later. I'm not too sure, but in other parts of the world, depending where you're at, also, um, it can be happening um, earlier in the morning. Um, Let me check my. Let me see. And for those of you that are not familiar with um, full moons, you know that full moons are a time to, um, full moons are all about the mother energy in your life. So full moons are opposite the sun, and they represent the sun. So because they represent, I mean, they represent the moon. I'm sorry about that. They represent the moon, and because they're happening, because this full moon is in the sign of Capricorn, in the sign of Cancer, during Capricorn season, which is kind of ironic. Um, those of you who are, um, and this is also a kind of, um, I guess I won't bring this up. Maybe I'll talk about this in another video, but I'll touch on it a little bit. The North and South Node during this time is changing. We'll be moving into Pisces. And because it's going to be moving into Pisces, so that the North Node will be moving into Pisces um, and switching also into Virgo. So the North Node will be moving into Pisces, and the South Node will be in Virgo, I believe. Um, and it has been in um, Aries, I believe. Um, but because this big switch, this big shift has been happening, um, one of the things that has really moved and switched with a lot of people, this North Node occurrence has been really made, it really has made a lot of people um, move into such a higher vibration, right? And with this current energy with a lot of people, especially those that are that have not done a lot of shadow work, it's pushing this energy um, with this north and south node change. And because the full moons are always when the sun is opposite um, the moon, okay? And they are the highest point of the energy, right? And they're the highest point of the lunar cycle. And they can sometimes represent like a gathering or a celebration. And uh, when you with these celebrations, or I won't necessarily say a celebration, right? But they can either um, be an ending or a beginning of something. So let's say um, it can be the beginning or the ending of anything, right? Or the coming or the going of something big in anyone's life, right? So let's say you are either starting a project or ending a project, right? Of any kind. So if you've just recently um, decided that you are going to be moving into a new job or position in your house or in your workplace. Either that workplace has brought a big pay raise. And that pay raise is because someone in your work area is either fired or rehired a new um, move, right? But that move entails something um, drastic or something with a finality in your life. But it's just so drastic that it pivoted you out of um, a, or like a U-turn in your life, like something that was just so final, right? Um, that although you're very happy about that finality, it is a shift. Either you weren't ready for it or you had to get ready for it. And as you know, that Pisces is deals with two fish, one moving in one direction and the other moving in another direction, right? And that it's pushing and it's pulling, so it's kind of like an energetic release, right? So this is all happening at the same time, and it all has to do with the moon. So the moon is going to be at 23 degrees of Cancer, right? So those of you that have 20 degrees of Cancer in the moon, you guys are thankfully, it's kind of like in its own kind of like planet, or uh, you're in your own kind of like little orbit, or um, you're in your I guess like in your own field of um, it's in its own like it's happy there, right? Because to me it's your own world, you know. So with Cancer being in Cancer in the moon, y'all are happy and free. It's no problem. It's, you know, y'all feel free, you know. And because it's a mother sign, to me it's being mothered and it's being loved and it's being there. So Cancer is happy there because it's not you're comfortable, you know. You can manifest in the sign of Cancer. So everything is very clear, it's very hopeful, and in a like in a kind of constructive way. You're able to manifest, you're able to ground in that energy, and there's like a significant um, the atmosphere is clear, free, and really able to do all the things that it's supposed to do, right? Um, and there's really nothing hidden, right? There's no, um, you know, you can go to the bank on that, right? Um, your let's let me move back on that a little bit. Let's say if there is a little bit more, you have a little bit more wiggle room to be free, right? I don't want to talk about, you know, you don't want to act up, right? You don't want to misuse the things that you have been doing, okay? You want to show yourself, um, you know, grace and freedom. Okay. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to misuse what you have been doing, especially if it comes to um, any kind of karmic energy. So you want to feel safe and navigate kind of what you have been doing, and you want to feel free to be yourself. Um, so, when the moon is there in Cancer, just make sure you're doing the right things and just basically feel free to do as you've been doing, as long as you're on the right side of, karma. So with the moon being there in the last third kind of decan of Cancer, and this is kind of also ruled by the moon. Cancer is ruled by the moon. You want to just make sure you're doing the right thing and you're not abusing any power, right? Um, you don't want to be extra with that. Um, Let me see what else. Just one second. Let me get this book that I have. It's just a second. Sorry, you guys. I have this book. It's all about. Um, it's all about lunar living by Kirsty Gallinger. And it talks about um, kind of like um, the phases of the moon and kind of like what to expect when the moons are in certain phases. Um, and um, and while the moon is in certain phases, it's pretty much what to expect. Um, and I haven't really uh, read that much into this book. I just got it like a few weeks ago, and I can't think of her name. Um, I think this book was suggested to me by another YouTuber. She has a really big page. Uh, what is her name? I think it's Linda Loves Tarot. She's such a great reader. And if you look up Linda Loves Tarot, I think that is her page name. She's a great reader. And she's more on the, um, she's a great reader. You should visit her page. My page is obviously very small, but like I said, I am more of I believe that she's a great reader. But this book talks about pretty much like the elements, um, what the qualities of the signs are. But anyway, it says here that the element of the moon sign obviously is water, because you know that the crab, which is the element of Cancer, is water. The quality is a cardinal sign. The ruling planet is the moon, and the symbol is a crab. But um, it gives you like basically what happens during the phase of the moon and what you can do in order to um, ebb and flow as the moon is in a certain sign, and how to kind of adjust to that. But anyhow, if you, I got this off of Amazon a couple of weeks ago, and it goes into, it's either in paperback. I got the hardback just in case I want to give it away. But again, back to this video. Um, I don't know where I left off, but this Cancer full moon like I said, is very, um, you should expect a lot of drama with this moon. Um, and I don't mean drama as in like, people are going to be after you, but you should expect a lot of people having um, issues with the things that they have been going through. And especially you, Cancer, a lot of things that they have been going through will be stuffed down, and a lot of um, not issues, a lot of things that have been stuffed down at the surface might come up to the surface, especially things that they've been stuffing down over the last couple of months, will just suddenly want to come up out of the surface, right? So, over the last 3 months, if they have been really stuffing things down, um, it will suddenly want to come up. So, if you've been really, really, really wanting to say things to people, um, like over the last couple of months, and you haven't been satisfied with them or with yourself, like, oh my goodness, this has been going on, and I am no longer satisfied with this. I've just simply had enough. Or I haven't been satisfied with my boss at work. They haven't been treating me well. I've been overworking myself. I've just simply had enough. You know, I know that I'm overworking, I'm underpaid, I am not being shown a lot of gratitude. Um, I've been not living the quality of life that I am supposed to be living. Um, or I'm not able to express myself in the ways that I know that I can express myself. Basically, you're at the end of the tether with so many things that are being reflected back at me. So these are the things that you are basically supposed to have been working on at a level that you were basically supposed to have already had been working on previous to this full moon. So since the last moon, since the new moon, right? You were you are revisiting something. You are supposed to have already worked on this issue, but you stuffed it down instead of, so it's coming back to pay you a visit, right? Since that last moon, okay? And because you had not worked on this in a level that was supposed to make you empowered, it was supposed to, and forgive my mouth, it was old shit, right? You were supposed to have not overcome it, but it just wants to pay you a visit. Like, how was this supposed to empower you? And how was this supposed to make you the person that you were supposed to be, right? And how is this supposed to even show you've gotten a lot um, of unfulfilled ways in your uh, average life? And so it's like you really want this part of your life to be finished with. It's like literally like knocking at your door again. And you're like, this is coming up again. Yes, this is coming up again, because now that the moon is um, literally conjunct Mars, and because you know that Mars is a very fiery planet, right? But it's retrograde, okay? And because it's retrograde, we know that Mars is the ruling planet of Aries. Aries is like, you know, like um, that fiery planet, right? Aries is not, Aries is the planet where, like, Total Recall, right? Think about that movie, okay? And because it's Total Recall, it's not playing no games, right? I forgot the movie that was here before Total Recall. I don't watch too much television, but it's frustration. It's is that Sarah Connors? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but because it's Total Recall, you're recalling all the things that had plagued you, that wants to remind you of all this stuff that really should have been torn apart. But now that it's right there, it really is trying to remind you of all the things that you knew about, right? And because it's there, it wants to show you um, not really what was wrong, but how you could have and should have been able to fix it, not in a bad way, but because it's now coming back up. One of the ways that you know that it could have been fixed, it doesn't really want you to fix it. It wants you to not bring it up, right? Because remember that Mars is retrograde. And because Mars is retrograde, it's almost like a trick. Not a trick, but it doesn't want you to bring it up, okay? And because after Mars is no longer retrograde, it it doesn't want you to bring it up in this fiery way. It wants you to let it not let it go, but it doesn't want you to deal with it in the way that you think you want to deal with it. So make sure that you deal with it in a very mature way. So write it out, release this, but not through the fire. Release it through the way that you can maturely do it, but make it through a loving and joyful way so that all parties around you can make it a passionate way and not through the fire, okay? Because with Mars being retrograde, how you think it can be handled is not how it should be handled, okay? Because how it should be handled is not going to, it won't be handled in a peaceful manner, because you have this, it will be an outburst, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. um, because people that are going to be around you will be like, okay, don't take it out on anyone, let it kind of stay between us. And, you know, there's help, save us from this torrential kind of downfall of heck and play. There's going to be support around you. We can all believe in this. It's going to be it's going to be peace and harmony. We'll make it. you know let's have peace. But in essence, the world and the surrounding world is going to be here to help you handle it, right? So I want to go into a few of the signs in a brief way, okay? um, and I have some of them here. I'm going to try to make this as short because, let me see. But like I said, try to do this on paper. And then if you do have to talk to somebody about releasing this, write it out on paper and release it that way. And if you have to talk to them, release it and toss it into a burning bowl, and the people you need to talk to it about, talk to them, but talk to them in a way that you know that it can be a peaceful way and there are no outbursts, okay? Because the messy manner that you think it can be executed, it will not be received in that way as far as what you think the outburst and the outcome will be. You know what I mean? It will not be received to them in that way. You know what I mean? Um, or you won't get the result that you think you will get. Okay. Let's see what sign to. Oh my God, I've been here 36 minutes. Um, I don't like to, I don't want to stay on here too much longer, but I'll try to, let me see. Mm, I only want to make this probably to 40 minutes. So I'll do maybe a few more, like a few, or maybe, um, or maybe I'll just try to title this and uh, I don't even know if I put a title on this, but let me see. Maybe, hmm. Anyway, hopefully you guys get my drift. But I will try to title this later. But hopefully, Cancer, you get my drift on allowing those feelings to be written out on paper and then having the room to understand how to discuss um, this during that. Um, and um, feeling yourself out on paper and discussing this way beforehand with yourself, with, your cat, and allowing yourself a lot of grace, because, you are a very sensitive sign, and it's okay to give yourself grace, and it's okay to allow yourself to feel this mothering energy underneath one of these most powerful moons, and having um, the Cancer moon. So I will start with, again, this is all the rising signs. So I'll start with, um, let me get some dice so I can, um, let me see. Let me go get a dice, a piece of some dice so I won't be all over the place. Just a second again. Okay. So I'll start with um, the fire sign. So Aries, this is going to be in your fourth house of home and family. You can probably be dealing with some type of um, like restriction or some type of dealing with not really a breakup in your family, but some type of moving situation where you can be either discussing a move or dealing with some type of move that has you kind of torn in two places, um, or dealing with a situation where you are trying to figure out something, and only you'll know what that is. So, um, it can be making you feel very intense or some type of intense emotions, um, evolving around initiating that or feeling very emotional around that. Okay. And because of that, it can cause you to have very deep seated or um, some type of, uh, I think also it can be dealing with a love situation, um, where you might also be having to find out some type of, I think, issues with your, I think, um, body type, mo- uh, emotions, dealing with something evolving around that. Um, uh, and because you want to move out of that space, you could be on your last kind of leg with someone that you might have dated in the past. Um, it could be issues surrounding your parents or a parent figure where you may have kind of like mm, kind of are like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm finished. This is it. Forget about it. So Taurus rising, um, you, um, this is about most likely dealing with your career and your fourth house. You can either be dealing with writing projects or something evolving around that, which is most likely your public image, social media ideas. I think also work projects. You're trying to figure out, which way that you should go, what it is that you want to do evolving around that. If you should continue, cut out that cut it out or no longer deal with that, um, or how much you should put into that. I'm going to go ahead and end this part for now, and I will go ahead and make another video before um, the full moon. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching, and if you enjoyed watching this video on the replay, please give this video a thumbs up, and I appreciate you all. And thank you so much. And talk to you guys some other day. Have a great day. Bye bye.